What's up, y'all? It's Truth Tiger, and today I'm going to talk about self-esteem. I'm not sure what I'm going to call this video, but I've been thinking a lot about self-esteem, and I've been thinking a lot about what self-esteem really is and what it really means to have self-esteem. My sinuses are a bit clogged here. But yeah, I think a lot of people don't really understand what self-esteem is, and I think I think the vast majority of people actually lack self-esteem. They lack that sense of self-worth, and they kind of lack that backbone. Because if you have self-esteem, you can keep it real. If you have self-esteem, rejection doesn't bother you. If you have self-esteem, you can turn the other cheek pretty easily. If you don't have self-esteem, it's like rejection is so like, oh, I had my self-worth, I'm not worth anything. They rejected me, I'm not worth anything. If you have low self-esteem, that alarm bell starts going off. Whereas if you have high self-esteem and you are rejected, you're just like, whatever. Whatever, you keep it moving. It's not a big deal. You realize like, hey, you win some, you lose some. That other person and whatever, this situation, whatever it is, just didn't work out. And it's like, look, some cat on the street walks by you, you try to pet the cat, it runs away, you're just like, all right, whatever. I should keep moving. I'm not gonna stress out about this. I have to get that cat to like me, and and he's hiding under a car, and I'm gonna stick my hand under and try to grab him, and I'm gonna learn these meows and I'm gonna offer him, like, whatever. You just keep going. You're not tripping about this stuff. You're not tripping about these people. You're not tripping about making every situation work. You just kind of realize you got to move forward. You realize like you have internal value within yourself. So you're like, I have value within myself. I'll take that value where it's, where that value works, where that value is valued back, where that value clicks in properly, where that value is right for me. You have that inside, and you're able to deal with this type of stuff. Same with telling people stuff they don't want to hear. Sometimes you got to tell people stuff that they don't want to hear. A lot of times it's people very close to you. Sometimes I do that sometimes in videos and stuff that I make here and stuff too, and I do it in my personal life too, and it's not an easy thing to do. It's not a fun thing to do, and what people with low self-esteem will do is, well, I can't tell them, it's gonna hurt their feelings, and I can't hurt anybody's feelings and make anybody feel bad, and I'm gonna hold it in and be resentful and be pissy and, have that be something that they're just gonna hold this deep resentment and be all angry and annoyed and whatever. Whereas if you have self-esteem, you'll have that hard conversation, you'll address those problems. And what will come out of it will come out of it. But, like, you got to tell people stuff they don't want to hear sometimes. And I'm not talking about, like, I'm not talking about criticizing people or, being a jerk or anything like that. But sometimes, like, there are hard conversations you have to have with people, very hard, real conversations you have to have with people. There's things you have to bring up that people won't be comfortable with. And it's like, it's like sometimes you got to tell the girl the dress doesn't look good on her, and people are going to get mad at me for saying that, and maybe some women will get mad at me for saying that are watching this, but I mean, literally to that level. And I'm not saying be mean or be brutal or be ruthless or be cold or anything, but you have to put the truth out there. It's this, you can't be people pleasing. I tell everybody everything I want to hear, they want to hear all the time, and same with your boss at work or your family, your parents. It doesn't matter. You have to tell people what's really going on inside of you. You have to tell people how you really feel about things. And I'm not saying every little criticism or anything like that. I'm talking about big issues here. But if you have big issues, if you have things that are really bothering you, you speak on them. And if you have self-esteem, you'll speak on these things and you'll stand up for yourself and you'll keep it real and you'll be like, this is what it is. And like, if people get mad, which a lot of times they will, if people feel rejected and feel sad and feel whatever, which a lot of times they will, whatever, like, just be nice about it. But this whole thing of like, I'm not, just not telling people how you feel, or just holding all your feelings in and repressing all your emotions and stuff like that to make other people happy. It's like, it's going to drive you crazy, and it's going to turn you into not a good person either. Like, people with low self-esteem are, their morals are not very good because because they hate themselves. They're able to, it's easier for them to hate another person, Whereas it was, if you love yourself deep down, you have self-esteem, you have value, you value yourself, you're not going to devalue other people, You're going to be like a nice person too, And that's another good segue point to go to, is like, if you have self-esteem, like, you're going to be like just like a nice person day to day. You're going to be a nice, kind person. It's going to be easy to be nice. Being nice is not going to be like a chore. You're going to say, because it's like, well, because I have value within myself, I like who I am, I can like other people, because I have love within myself, I love who I am, I have self-love, I can love another person, And you'll just find you're a lot more kind with people and a lot more patient with people too, But in a strong way, not in a people-pleasing kind of way. Not in a way where you're sucking up to people, not in a way where you're always trying to, like, lift up people's egos, because it's what I see so much of. I see it in real life, I see it in people's relationships, I see it here with other people's channels and whatever, and where they're trying to get people to like them. They're trying to stroke people's egos. And they're trying to, in a lot of ways, affirm things and enable things maybe they should not be enabling, If someone is doing stuff and they're having problems, maybe someone's dating someone they should not be dating. And if they go up to you and they ask you about that and they want to hear you say that it's good and it's great, and if you tell them, hey, like, there's some problems here, this is probably not going to work, or there's some issues here, that person might react bad to that. But if that's what you see and that's what you really feel, you got to say it, You really got to say it. And if people got stuff going on in their life, if you got a friend and he's horrible with money, horrible with finances, she's horrible with money, whatever, and you see them doing this stuff, like, you might just tell them, hey, like, you're going to bankrupt yourself with all these credit card debts and all this stuff. Like, I'm not saying to be on people's case or whatever, but, like, you gotta say this stuff, and you gotta, like, bring up these uncomfortable truths and stuff. And, you don't want to, like, enable people's bad behavior. You don't want to enable people's stuff. Like, if you're telling everybody everything is great and wonderful and it's all sunshine and rainbows and there's no problems whatsoever, those people are much less likely to actually make improvements and do better things and, live better lives. And it's just like, it's not going to do anything good. But when you tell them, oh, it's okay, there's no whatever, like, you don't have to improve anything you do, when you do that kind of thing, it's just enabling people. And it's what people with low self-esteem do, and they gather around each other in these little groups, and they have these pathetic pity parties, and they, and my divorce happened, but, and there's nothing I can really do to improve or whatever, and they talk about all their relationship failures and their financial failures and their life failures, and there's not a lot of self-reflection, and if there is, it's like, it's a very, like, their form of self-reflection is a very self-hating, like, it's all my fault, it's not an honest reflection of the situation. And I feel like people with low self-esteem, they have these two modes they go on. Either everything's totally fine, it's totally perfect, there's no problems, I'm good as gold, or I'm worth nothing and I hate myself and I'm zero, and and it's like, they go back and forth between those two kind of modes, where it's like, on the bottom, they're just, like, blaming themselves so much and whatever. And then on the top, it's like, well, nothing's my fault. There's no real actual inventory or sense of what's actually going on, because you need to look at things like, all right, I screwed that up, but they screwed that up too, though, and you got to look at things kind of like that. You got to say, all right, that was my part, but that part was their part. You need to be able to differentiate these things. And if you don't have a healthy self-esteem, you're going to go back and forth to, I hate myself, I screwed everything up, to, it's all their fault, I didn't do anything wrong, people are just going to be ping-ponging back and forth between those two modes. And some people are more in the mode of just blaming themselves for everything. Some people are in the mode of blaming other people. I don't know, you know. I mean, this definitely ties into like narcissists and enablers and stuff like that. And you know, narcissists don't have self-esteem, enablers don't have self-esteem, whatever. Like toxic people, haters, they don't have self-esteem, you know. So this ties into that, but it's like you can actually self-reflect and like make realistic improvements and realistically look at yourself and look at what's going on and, you know, see the real picture of it, you know. I can like look at my life and see the real picture of it. I don't have these like delusions to comfort myself. I'm not going to be like, oh, well, I'm in this apartment now, but I'm on the way right to the top and and, you know, and I don't have to like, you know, some people are like that. They're like, well, you know, in 2 weeks, the next year is going to be my year. It's going to be my year, you know, and it's like, what are you doing to make it your year, you know? And people don't want to look at the mess that is their life and the situation that is their life, and they don't want to look at realistic ways to improve it, you know? Like realistic things people can do, you know, exercise, work on their health and fitness, save up a little bit of money, you know, find a hobby, you know, do some self-reflection. I don't know. I mean, there's realistic things people can do and realistic steps people can take, but people who don't have self-esteem just get caught up in this kind of fantasy kind of thinking and this kind of, you know, they're down here in the self-hatred. They need something to catalyze them to get them to jump up here to the, oh, it's all fine, you know, to where they're deluding themselves. And, you know, if you have self-esteem, you start to really have an honest picture of yourself. Like, I'm good in ways that I didn't know I was good. I'm also bad in ways I didn't know I was bad. You know, God showed me that. But, you know, I can look at those things and I can look at the good of me and the bad of me and I can say, all right, you know. And, like, I didn't always have good self-esteem. Like, I used to have very low self-esteem and I used to really hate myself and not think I deserved good things and was very down on myself, and I would ping pong back and forth between this, like, I hate myself and I'm so great, blah, 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 you know, and it's, you know, I needed that ego delusion too, but because I have self-esteem, I don't need to have the ego delusion anymore. I don't care about that. I don't need that. I don't need to, I don't need to like get all this approval from other people. I don't need to delude myself and think I'm the greatest golden statue of whatever. It's like, I think pretty highly of myself, but not, you know, realistically though, not in an unrealistic kind of way, not in a way of like, I'm on the high mountain. I just think like I can do things that I put my mind to, you know? And I can get stuff done the way I need to get it done, you know? But you got to have that self-esteem. You got to have that sense of self-value, you know, because if you don't, it's just going to be people-pleasing, telling people stuff they want to hear, enabling, maybe even becoming a narcissist, you know. Having low self-esteem will put people in danger of that, you know. So that's definitely something to look out for. And then, like, you know, for myself also on a more personal level, like, I never thought I deserved good things. I didn't think I deserved to have fun or to enjoy life or to have, you know, fruitfulness or to make good money or anything like that. I didn't think I deserved any good things to happen. I couldn't envision it. I couldn't think about it. I just didn't think that I was worth that. And, you know, God is showing me that I'm worth very good things. And that, you know, even though I can't see it and envision it, that it's like, that it's there for me. That I have that value and I just need to keep walking forward and doing the things that I do. And, you know, I need to stop tripping about what other people think. I need to not worry about making people mad or getting people upset or emotional or, you know, hurting people's feelings or whatever, you know, like just, I can tell the truth. I can be honest, you know. And again, I'm going to say, like, I do that in a nice way, in a smart way, you know. I'm not saying to be some troll as I'm dropping, you know, I'm not saying to be some person who's trying to trigger everybody or anything like that, but, you know, just being able to tell the truth even if people do not want to hear it, or even if it's things that are upsetting to people, or, you know, if it's the truth, it's the truth, you know, and the truth has to be told. I'm the truth tiger. I'm not the pandering panda bear. I'm the truth tiger. And I'm a nice tiger. I really am. But when it comes to the truth, I tell it, you know, even if it hurts people's feelings. Same in my personal life, you know? And again, I'm not saying this in a mean way or anything, but like there are certain things that need to be addressed, you know, certain problems that have to be addressed, you know? You can't just leave all these problems and all these issues unaddressed. We don't talk about that. We don't bring that up. No, not here. Not here with Truth Tiger. Not at all. We do bring it up. We do talk about it. We do discuss it, you know? And it also comes to, you know, one thing that I had very big was like kind of a fear of conflict. And I'm not talking about a fear of like getting in a physical fight with somebody. I'm talking about a fear of like having issues in an interpersonal relationship. I didn't want to have that friend or that romantic partner or that whatever, that person who was very close to me. I was really afraid of there being trouble in that relationship. I didn't want to have to fight with that person, you know, but it was usually the opposite. There usually was conflict, you know, and you know, just having self-esteem is just realizing that like I can deal with this conflict, you know. I don't have to be quote unquote right the way they are because they have crazy egos that they're, you know, all messed up with and they have low self-esteem. I can laugh it off. I don't have to like engage in this conflict for my pride. I don't have to fight for my pride, you know, like I have self-esteem. I can laugh it off. I can say, I'm going to keep on walking. I'm not going to worry about these things these people are saying. I'm not going to worry about these things these people are doing, you know. And one thing for me also personally is I always felt like I had to be everybody's emotional support system, you know. I always felt like I had to be everybody's therapist, everyone's supporter, always there making everybody feel good about themselves and feeling nice about themselves. And, you know, on some level, I still do that, and there's good things to that. But on another level, that can become very enabling because people have their problems and they want you to take their side. And they want you to tell them they don't need to improve, they don't need to level up. They want you to tell them everything is fine the way it is. They want you to just affirm them, you know. So I mean, on the good side of that, I will still 100% do the good side of that and be supportive in the best way possible. But the bad side of that, I'm not going to be supporting people's BS. I'm not going to be holding up people's bullcrap, you know? If people have bullcrap, get it out of here, you know? This is the no bullcrap zone. You know, we don't do that here. We don't do that. But yeah, like, you know, like self-esteem is something that's so unexpected the way it's hitting me, but it's just like, you know, it's such a gift from God, you know? I just know that like I just feel good and I feel good about myself and I know that things are cool and I know that I'm not perfect at all. And I know that life isn't perfect. And I know that things will not always go perfect. And I know there's going to be a lot of ups and downs. But I just know that, like, I have value within myself. I'm solid with who I am. And I'm just going to roll with the punches. You know, it's not going to become this big ego thing where I have to win the argument and I have to be right and I'll show them and I got this chip on my shoulder. And it's not any of that. I don't got nothing to prove to nobody. I mean, God's already proven it to me. It's already been proven, you know. I've proven it within myself, you know. I don't need to prove nothing to nobody. I don't need these external people to say, oh, look at you, whatever, you know. I need God to look at me and say, I'm good, you know, that I'm good with you. And you know, so I don't need that, you know. I don't need all these other people to affirm me. I mean, it feels good to get compliments, obviously. I mean, it feels good to be encouraged. Encouragement is very important. I mean, I think St. Paul talks about that, encouraging people. Encouragement is very powerful. It really, really is. It really is. But I can stand in my own zone, though. You know, and I'll take all the encouragement I can get. I'm not saying give me the compliments, give me all the encouragement. You know, give it all to me. But I'm not tripping up over that. I'm not living off that. And I'm not like, I need this attention from people and whatever, you know, I'm kind of past all that. And like, I mean, just like a lot of stuff, like people who can't get over an ex or whatever, I need my ex back, whatever, like that's low self-esteem stuff. It's low self-esteem stuff because they don't like themselves. They feel lonely and unloved and whatever. Just like all that, it's just like pathetic, weird stuff, you know? I've had those moments myself. I have. I'm not going to say I haven't. I've had a lot of low self-esteem struggles of my own, you know, but it's just like being like, all right, I'm good with who I am, and like, and also it's like I can't fix everything. I used to think that I could fix everything. I'm going to put on my Superman cape and fly in and fix everything. And I can't. I can't. God showed me that there's situations that are not fixable. God showed me there's people that are not fixable. God showed me that, like, a lot of stuff is going to fall down to hell, because it's not fixable. It's not workable, but the stuff that is workable, you know, God will fix. God will work. I mean, if you are fixable, if you are workable, God will fix you. God will work on you, And then also, like, I'm not God also. I'm not Jesus Christ. I didn't get on the cross for everybody's sins. I didn't, That was him. He did that, And God showed me a lot of times, like, hey, like, I'm their savior, not you, You have your role and your position, but that's my role. That's my position. That's too big for you, That's not for you. Live your life, Enjoy living a smaller life, That's not for you. That's way too big for you, But I thought I was going to be Jesus Christ and I'm going to get on the cross and save everybody. And it's not going to work like that. It's not going to work like that. And the truth is, that's something that made me feel affirmed. I had low self-esteem. It made me feel big about myself. It made me feel like I'm this big hero and I'm needed and whatever, And so people would think I was a hero, That's what it was. And it's like, Jesus Christ is the hero. I don't need to try to save everybody. And, trying to save everybody, I'm going to save this person and there's some narcissist, you get in some bad relationship or whatever, you meet some bad friends or, or you have some, some parent or some family member who's awful and I'm going to save them. You're not. If anyone's going to save them, it's going to be Jesus Christ. It's not going to be you, And I'm not saying we can't help people. We can help people, we can, but like, it's a partnership when you're helping somebody out. If they don't want the help or they're trying to take advantage or manipulate, it's not a partnership. But if you help someone and then thank you, great, But I've had a lot of people I've helped and I found out I was actually enabling them because they had some screwy stuff going on and they had some weird agenda and they were not who I thought I was. I've also helped people who did not have an agenda going on and, those people were very appreciative, So I'm not saying don't help people either. Like, help people out. Help wherever you can. Give wherever you can. Do good wherever you can. 100%. But like, don't put the whole world on your back. And don't carry everybody on your back. You're not carrying these people on your back. It's not your responsibility. Give what you can where you can, Be kind and generous where you can, but all this stuff about carrying people on your back and I'm going to save everybody and I'm going to be the ultimate whatever, they're going to see me as this hero or whatever, like, just don't do it, I used to feel that way, and it was just a reflection of the fact that I did not like myself, didn't like myself at all, and if I could put on that persona, put on that mask, then people would like me, and I realize now it's fake, it's a facade, and the trip about it is, like, I had a lot of more popularity back then. A lot of people liked that mask. A lot of people liked the ego stroking and the ego brushing. It gave me a lot of popularity and it opened doors. It did a lot of stuff for me. And now that I'm on the truth, there's new doors that are open for me. And like, I actually stand on solid ground and there's reasons why I'm not going to go back to doing that. A lot of good reasons, but I mean, look, I'm on solid grounds, and the doors that open up stay open, and I'm just like, I'm not, because when you're like that, you're running around all frantic, you're all, you're off kilter, you're off kilter, and you're in danger of becoming a narcissist when you're in that mode, you just are, it could happen. Those are the ideal conditions for narcissism to manifest, complete lack of self-esteem, and, something else will replace that self-esteem. Ego, arrogance, It will. It will. And underneath that ego and arrogance is a lot of self-loathing. All the narcissists I've known in life are deeply self-loathing. Deeply self-loathing. Deeply self-hating. When you really peel it away, they hate themselves and they have some bad relationship with their dad or their mom or something that they haven't dealt with at all, and Yeah. And one more thing before I end this is like having self-esteem, you deal with your inner problems, you deal with your inner issues, you look at yourself. Because a lot of times I would look at the bad parts of myself and I would feel so much shame and I couldn't face it. But now I'm not inundated by that shame. I can look at them and I could say, there it is. I'm not perfect, you know. I gotta just work on that stuff, do the best I can. And then also, like, I also realize having self-esteem, sometimes I will make minor mistakes that will minorly inconvenience people. These things will be accidents, showing up slightly late for something, making a clerical error, making an honest mistake that anybody would make. And a lot of times people will really get very mad about that. What? We had to wait 5 minutes, we this, we that, what this. And a lot of times people will get very up in arms about like a minor error and a minor issue. And like having low self-esteem, it's like, I made them unhappy. Oh no. Having high self-esteem is like, look, it's not a big issue. I made a mistake that anybody else could make. This was not intentional. I wasn't trying to hurt anybody. When I showed up 5 minutes late, just was a little late getting out of the door. It could happen to anybody, When I forgot this thing on the spreadsheet or whatever, I was just busy. It was an honest mistake, And, when you make those honest mistakes that anyone else would make, you're not so like, oh my gosh, I made a little mistake. I inconvenienced someone a tiny amount. Like, whatever. I didn't mean to do it, And you can kind of just be like, all right, like, I'm not going to like, I know what this really is, because you can see what it really is. Like, I see what this really is. I see what's going on here in reality and in actuality. These other people are in this like, so like it's a catastrophe, or I don't know, they're just so like looking for things to get mad about, and there's a lot of people doing that. They're looking for things to get mad about or whatever, and you can kind of recognize that. Just be like, hey, like, simple mistake, not a big issue, and you can move on. It'll make them mad a lot of the time when you do that because their little game didn't work. But when you have self-esteem, it's like you can brush all this criticism and all this stuff off of you, When you have good self-esteem, it's just like all the stuff people say, the trash people talk, all the rejection, all whatever, just all the stuff that kind of comes out of nowhere too, It's like all this stuff that's not like really warranted. You can just kind of laugh it off. You kind of say, all right, that's where they're at, They are at that area. They don't like who they are as people. Obviously don't tolerate it. Obviously don't keep it in your life, but when a little bit of it gets on you, you can just kind of wipe it off. You can kind of say, all right, you can kind of be like, hey, don't talk to me like that, and you can stand up for yourself easily. It's not like this desperate fight to stand up for yourself. You can say, hey, like, what you're doing right now, I don't like this, When you have self-esteem, you can stand up for yourself. You can make sure your needs are met. You can say like, hey, I have these wants, I have these needs, I have these standards. Like, these standards, wants, and needs need to be met, and you can say that. You can have that in your life, and you can have that with the people in your life, and you can have those expectations. And I'm not saying have insane high standards. Like, all that stuff's realistic. I'm just talking about like people being nice to you or whatever, and whatever you have your standards of life. I'm not saying it's anything some crazy high. Like, you have to be these perfect people. I'm not saying anything like that at all. But I'm saying you have a realistic standard you set, and you have things you want, and you make sure it's that. And if it's not that, you don't really rock with it, And, yeah, and if it's some haters and some BS and some stupidity, you don't rock with it at all. And you don't let that mud they throw on you get to you. You don't let it stick to you. You just kind of go, well, what are you throwing mud on me for? That's not nice. What you doing that for, You just kind of do a little bit of that, And because it's like also when you have self-esteem, it's like you're bigger. It's like you're the adult, I know I said I was going to end this video, but I'm still going. I'm still rocking. I'm still rolling. So we're going to keep it going. But it's like you're the adult in the room. It's like you're big, These other people are kind of in a childlike kind of mode where they're kind of like these little children. They don't really know where to go, what to do, whatever. Like children with no guidance can be kind of mean to each other and can like bully each other and form cliques. And, things can get kind of mean, and that's kind of where these people are at. They're kind of like bratty, undisciplined children, and you're kind of like an adult, and I'm not going to say it's your job to discipline them because it's more complicated than that. But it is your job to kind of stand up and be an adult and be like, I'm not going to let a 3-year-old call me a stupid head. I'm not, that's not going to get to me. If some 3-year-old says, you're a stupid head, I'm going to be like, whose little brat is this? That's what it becomes like, it becomes like, okay, whatever, you're not like taking it too serious. But if the 3-year-old calls you a stupid head, what? I'm not a stupid head. Don't call me a stupid head. You're a stupid. If you get like that, you're like, or you don't react, or he called me a stupid head, whatever. I just walked away. But if you're like mad about it, and I mean, I'm not saying people don't get to me. I'm not saying haters don't sometimes get through with a comment, or I'm not saying people don't sometimes bother me. They do, but I try to be in that state as best I can, where I'm just like, all right, I'm just gonna be an adult, not let this little bratty let this little bratty 3-year-old bother me. But yeah, y'all, this is self-esteem. We covered a lot in this video. Yeah, God bless you all. It's much love to you all. Have a good weekend. Have a good life, light, love, prosperity, love, kindness, let God's kindness and God's knowledge and God's wisdom be prosperous in your life, and let God be above you in your life. And yeah, my Father in heaven, just be with everyone watching this video. Give them the guidance, and yeah, put your loving hand on their shoulder. Thank you all. Truth Tigers out.